their opening bell. This is how we get into the started Thursday, the 27th of October. All markets are green. You can see that already. The Nigerian market went up 0.16% thanks to the second largest cement maker, Boa Cement, whose share price climbed on Wednesday. Then you've got the BRVM up by 0.41%. The shares of Bank of Africa, Burkina Faso, jumped roughly 6% on the back of the latest earnings from that commercial bank. Very big bank within the French-speaking West Africa. Then you've got EGX, the Egyptian market. Investors today roughly $63 million in net transaction value yesterday. Big names on that particular exchange went up, giving 75 basis points to the EGX 30, solid at 10,000 level. Then you got the Nairobi market up very strongly, 1.04%. The shares of Safaricom climbed yesterday, as well as KCB Group, which is the parent company of Equity Group, which is the parent company of Equity Bank. The shares of KCB fell slightly yesterday on the Nairobi Post. Then you've got the South African market roughly 2% to the upside, in line with this risk-on sentiment that we saw across the developed markets. The industrials, financials, resources indices on the GSC were strongly to the upside, with the big names within the banking sector like First Rand and others providing very big support in volume terms to the gains that we saw on names such as Prosos, Naspers, Implat, and American Platinum. That's the market summary for Wednesday. Take it down. Let me just give you the big stories across the East African corridor today. The shrinking value of developing countries' local currency units is beginning to flow into rising or elevated level of food and fuel prices. That's according to the latest World Bank report on the global commodities market outlook. That report came on the street yesterday. The World Bank says that the shrinking value, devaluation or depreciation in value of local currencies, and you've seen that rising inflation and food prices in Kenya, in Nigeria, in Ghana, in Egypt, and a few other countries. This morning, the Egyptian currency reported by Bloomberg shrank about 12% on the back of the country moving to a flexible exchange rate, holding discussions with the International Monetary Fund. The Ghana currency, the cedi, has been down roughly 40% since the start of the year, the world's worst currency against the US dollar across emerging and frontier markets. Mondelez is the Cadbury maker. Says it's putting about $600 million on the table to boost the income for cocoa farmers from where it sources main raw material, in particular in Africa, especially in countries like Nigeria, Ghana, and Cote d'Ivoire. Let's get on to other news. President William Ruto is giving what he called welcome a check to new homeowners in Kenya. They will be spared paying stamp duty. And that's warming up to the populace and the electorate that gave him the ticket as the new president of East Africa's largest economy. In the meantime, the Bank of Uganda has asked all borrowers to be ready to provide national identification as a means of know your customer. And finally, Fresher Milk reporting full year earnings for its period ended the month of June. Pre-tax profit went up 55%, and final dividend of 1.15 shillings will be given to the shareholders. Okay, what's else on the news this morning? Of course, you know, Nigeria's yesterday, central bank announced for the first time in 20 years, the currency redesign and a reissuance that will take place of the country's three highest denominations, 200, 500, and 1,000 naira. That will run from December the 15th to the end of January 2023, just before the general elections in February. And of course, the whole issue around currency management, dealing with currency hoarders, currency manipulators, and criminal elements who are taking hundreds of millions of naira as ransom from people who are kidnapped. So the central bank, that move has been praised by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. In the meantime, Access Core, which is listed on on the NESD over-the-counter, Nigeria says is going to buy via indirect buying equities in Sigma Pensions Limited, one of the strongest pension funds in Nigeria. Also, GTCO yesterday listed on the NGX reported its third quarter numbers ended September. The numbers were benign, as it were. Net profit came in just about 5.6%. Earnings per share up by 5.6% as well to 188 kobo. I talked about the Bank of Africa, Burkina Faso earlier. Its earnings came in at about 19 billion CFA franc as net profit. The shares went about 6.5% on the BRVM in Abidjan yesterday. And $790 million is the first tranche of the $1.13 billion of the cocoa board money that came into the Bank of Ghana's account. That came through yesterday, Wednesday, the 26th of October. Let's move on and see what else is in the news this morning. The South African midterm budget was released yesterday. Godongwana, the finance minister, said the Treasury has rebalanced the country's GDP growth. The forecast is now 1.9%. For this year, it will shrink down to about 1.7 in 2023, before picking up again to about 1.7% in 2024 and on into the future. The whole issue around the economy under President Ramaphosa was the main focus of the midterm budget presented to the parliament on Wednesday. The Zimbabwe's electricity distribution company, the ZETC, says it started work on this power line to build the largest steel plant in the southern African country. And sticking with that region, Zambia Minister for Technology says the new board of ZICTA should ensure that there is what you call a reduction in the cost of ICT services in Zambia. In the meantime, the South African government the talk between South African government and workers have deadlocked. The government is not shifting ground on wage increase, but says it's ready to yield on welfare grants to workers in South Africa. Let's add the North Africa to the mix this morning, with $25 billion exiting the Egyptian market in just 1 month. And that was a source of worry for the Prime Minister, Mustafa Madbouli, who spoke about that. European Bank are looking to fund the expansion of the Aya gold mining project in Morocco, while Mahawk Telecom, which is listed on the Casablanca Stock Exchange, is reported a positive result for third quarter ended September 2022. And finally, Tunisia is looking to boost exports to the rest of sub-Saharan Africa by covering what you call 50% of the insurance premiums. And that is what's the way to ease business. That's the show for today. Thanks for watching. I am Bosin Namafaye. I'll see you next time.